Purpose gives power to goals. Without purpose, even big goals feel empty. Think about it for a second. How many times have you set a goal, felt excited for a few days, and then slowly lost interest? It happens to everyone. The truth is, motivation fades when your goal doesn't have meaning behind it. You can't wake up every morning driven by pressure. You wake up driven by purpose. This isn't another talk about setting goals. It's about understanding why you want what you want. It's about finding that real reason that makes you push forward even when no one's watching, even when it's not easy. Because once you know your purpose, you stop forcing progress. You start living it. Stay with me in this video because by the end you'll see how purpose can turn ordinary goals into something that actually moves you every single day. Chapter 1. Understand why you want more before you chase it. Most people wake up each day feeling that they want more success, more peace, more love, more meaning. But very few stop to ask a simple and powerful question: why? Why do I want more? What am I chasing? What's really driving me? This question might seem small, but it's the foundation of everything. Because until you know why you want more, you'll never know what you're truly after. You'll run fast, but you'll run in circles. You'll work hard, but you'll feel empty. And eventually, you'll wonder why it all still feels incomplete. Understanding why you want more is the starting point of a meaningful life. It's where personal power begins. Most people try to build goals without knowing what fuels them. They set big dreams because someone told them to dream big. They follow what others are chasing. They measure themselves by what others achieve. And then they wonder why their motivation fades. The truth is, you can't build a strong life on someone else's definition of success. You can't borrow passion. You can't copy purpose. Your why must be your own. When you know your why, your goals stop being just numbers, titles, or possessions. They become expressions of who you are. You stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. You stop asking, "What should I do next?" and start saying, "This is what I must do." The difference is enormous. People who know their purpose don't need to be pushed. They move because they are pulled by something deeper inside them. But let's go back to the beginning. Where does the desire for more come from? It's natural. It's part of being human. Every person has a longing to expand, to grow, to reach beyond where they are. That's the way we're designed. Growth is not greed. Wanting more is not wrong. But it must come from the right place. When the reason is clear, the journey feels right. When it's not, even success feels hollow. So, how do you understand why you want more? You start with honesty. You ask yourself the questions most people avoid. Am I chasing this because it truly matters to me? Or because I want to prove something? Am I trying to build something meaningful, or just trying not to feel left behind? Would I still want this if no one ever saw it? These questions are uncomfortable, but they bring clarity. They strip away the noise and reveal what's real. If you look closely, you'll find that every strong goal is rooted in a personal reason. Someone who grew up struggling may want to build wealth not just for luxury, but for freedom and security. Someone who felt unseen might want to achieve not to show off, but to finally feel capable. Someone who's been hurt might want to help others heal. Beneath every goal is a story, and the deeper you understand your story, the stronger your drive becomes. That's what purpose really is, the meaning behind the movement. Without purpose, goals become pressure. You wake up tired because you're running for something you don't even believe in. But with purpose, the same work becomes fulfilling. You're no longer fighting the clock, you're creating your future. You start to enjoy the process because you know it matters. Many people think motivation is the secret. But motivation fades. What keeps you going is not a burst of energy. It's a reason that matters to you. When you're tired, purpose reminds you why you started. When you're afraid, purpose gives you courage. When life tests you, purpose gives you direction. It's the power that turns effort into excellence. Now, understanding your why doesn't happen in one moment. It's something you discover as you live, but it begins when you stop chasing and start questioning. You look at your life and ask, what moments made me feel most alive? What kind of problems do I care about solving? When do I feel at peace? What kind of person do I admire and why? These answers are clues to your purpose. They show you what truly moves you. If you want more out of life, start by defining what more really means to you. For some it might mean freedom. For others, connection. For some it's growth. For others, contribution. There's no single right answer. What matters is that it's yours, because the moment you define it, your energy changes. You stop wasting effort on what doesn't fit you. You stop comparing your path to someone else's. You start to walk with direction. Understanding your why also helps you build resilience. When challenges come, and they always do, you'll have something deeper to stand on. You'll remind yourself that what you're doing has meaning. People quit because they forget why they began. They get lost in the routine, in the opinions of others, in the frustration of slow progress. But if your purpose is clear, no setback can destroy you. You might slow down, but you won't stop, because your reason is bigger than your obstacle. Some people chase more because they think it will make them enough. But purpose teaches you that you were already enough. You just wanted to grow. That shift changes everything. You stop running from emptiness and start running toward possibility. You stop seeking validation and start creating impact. You stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. It's not wrong to want money, success, or recognition. Those can be good things, but they shouldn't be the reason. They should be the result. The reason must come from within. It might be the desire to give your family a better life, to help others rise, to prove to yourself that you can overcome. That's the fire that lasts. External rewards can fade. Internal purpose never does. If you want to understand your purpose, pay attention to what stays on your mind. Notice what bothers you when it's not right. Notice what excites you when you talk about it. Notice what you would do even if no one paid you. Your purpose hides in those moments. It's not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's a quiet pull that says, this is who I am. When you find it, protect it. Because the world will try to distract you. People will tell you to chase faster, do more, earn more. They'll measure you by numbers, not by meaning. But deep down you'll know what truly counts. You'll know that purpose gives your goals power. It turns ordinary days into meaningful steps. It makes effort feel worthwhile. You can't fake purpose. It shows in how you live. It shows in how you treat people. It shows in what you choose to do when no one's watching. And once you find it, you'll realize that having more was never about owning more. It was about becoming more aware, more giving, more alive. The beautiful thing about understanding your why is that it gives peace. You no longer need to rush. You no longer feel lost in comparison. You can be fully present where you are because you know where you're going. Every small step starts to feel like progress. You start to build a life, not just a lifestyle. When people come to me and say, I feel stuck, I often see that it's not a lack of opportunity. It's a lack of clarity. They're chasing something they don't understand. They're busy, but not fulfilled. The moment they reconnect with their reason, everything changes. Suddenly their energy rises. Their work has meaning again. Their days have direction. That's the power of knowing why you want more. If you want to build a strong life, take the time to ask yourself deep questions. Don't run from them. Sit quietly and think about what you really want and why. Think about who you want to become, not just what you want to get. Because when your why is strong, your goals will take care of themselves. You'll find ways, you'll stay consistent. You'll handle the tough days. Purpose gives strength that no strategy alone can provide. So before you chase more, understand what more means to you. Define it with honesty. If it's peace, then work toward that. If it's freedom, build for that. If it's love, give more of it. Don't just move. Move in the right direction. Because movement without meaning is just exhaustion. But movement with purpose is growth. Every great journey begins with a moment of awareness. The moment you understand why you want more, you stop being lost. You stop chasing approval. You stop waiting for someone to tell you what matters. You start creating a life that feels right inside. That's when your energy aligns with your goals. That's when your efforts start to pay off in more than just results. That's when you stop surviving and start living. You were meant for more, yes, but not more noise, more pressure or more confusion. You were meant for more meaning, more clarity, more truth. And it all starts by asking yourself, why do I want more? Once you answer that with honesty, your goals will stop being distant dreams. They'll become clear steps toward a life that makes sense to you, and that's the kind of more worth chasing. Chapter 2. Discover what gives your life meaning beyond success. There comes a point in life when success alone stops feeling like enough. You reach a milestone, you celebrate for a moment, and then an empty question rises in your chest. Is this all there is? That quiet question is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of growth. It's life calling you to go deeper, to search for something that lasts longer than applause, something that fills you even when no one else is watching. That's when the journey begins, not toward more achievements, but toward meaning. Most people are taught to chase success early in life, study hard, get the job, earn the money, climb the ladder, and there's nothing wrong with those things. They can be beautiful goals. But when you build your life only around success, you often build it on shifting ground, because success depends on conditions, your position, your health, your resources, the opinions of others. Meaning doesn't. Meaning comes from what you give, how you grow, and what you become. Success can give comfort. Meaning gives peace. Meaning begins when you start asking questions that go beyond what do I want and move toward why does it matter. It's when you look at your achievements and ask if they reflect your values. It's when you start caring not just about what you earn, but about what kind of person you're becoming. That's when life gains weight, depth, and purpose. Meaning has nothing to do with the size of your house or the title on your business card. You can have both and still feel lost if you don't know why you're doing it. On the other hand, you can have little and still feel full if your days are guided by something real. Meaning doesn't need recognition, it just needs connection to yourself, to others, and to something bigger than your own comfort. The truth is, a meaningful life is built through self-awareness. You begin to notice what kind of moments make you feel alive. Maybe it's helping someone solve a problem. Maybe it's teaching, creating, caring, or building something that lasts. Meaning hides in the moments when time disappears and your heart feels at peace. It's not about the spotlight, it's about alignment. Many people achieve what the world calls success, but feel empty because they never paused to define what success actually meant for them. They chased the image of success, not its substance. They reached the top of a mountain that wasn't even theirs to climb. That's why it's so important to stop and ask, what gives my life meaning beyond success? Meaning often lives in contribution. It's when you start using your growth to lift others. It's when your skills stop being tools for competition and become instruments for change. It's when you stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" Because the deepest satisfaction doesn't come from accumulation, it comes from impact. The mind feels fulfilled when it learns, but the heart feels fulfilled when it helps. Every person has a unique source of meaning. For some, it's family. For others, it's creativity, service, or faith. For some, it's the pursuit of wisdom or personal mastery. There's no universal formula. The key is awareness. You must spend time alone with your thoughts, without distractions, and ask yourself, what kind of life would make me proud when it's all said and done? That answer won't appear in one moment, but you'll start to see patterns. You'll recognize what brings you peace and what leaves you restless. Success is about progress, but meaning is about direction. You can move fast and still go nowhere if you're not moving in the right direction. Meaning helps you choose wisely. It keeps you from chasing everything and losing yourself in the process. It tells you what to say yes to and what to walk away from. It's the compass that makes achievement feel worthwhile. When you connect your goals to meaning, your definition of success changes. It's no longer just about being better than someone else. It's about being better for something greater. You start valuing experiences over possessions, depth over appearance, relationships over recognition. You begin to measure your days, not by what you earned, but by how you live. A person driven only by success often feels restless, even when they win. There's always another race to run, another goal to chase, another standard to reach. But a person driven by meaning feels anchored. They can still have ambition, but it's balanced by gratitude. They can still want more, but they're not defined by it. Meaning gives stability in a world that never stops shifting. It's easy to confuse excitement with fulfillment. The thrill of success feels good, but it fades quickly. Fulfillment is quieter, deeper. It grows over time. You feel it when your actions match your values. You feel it when you go to bed at night, knowing you spent your day on something that mattered. That's the kind of satisfaction that doesn't need noise to discover meaning. Start observing your emotions honestly. Notice when you feel proud, when you feel drained, when you feel at peace. These feelings are signals. When you help someone and feel joy, it's not just kindness, it's alignment. When you work on something that challenges you and feel energized, it's not just effort, it's growth. Life constantly gives you clues about what matters most to you. You just have to listen. Meaning also grows from struggle. The moments that break you often become the moments that define you. Pain can shape perspective. When you've been through hardship, you understand value differently. You stop taking things for granted. You start to realize that meaning isn't found in what's easy, but in what's worth it. Success might give pride, but meaning gives strength. We live in a world that celebrates visible success, but rarely talks about invisible meaning. It's easier to show numbers than depth. But deep down, every human craves the same thing. To know that their life counts for something, that their existence made a difference. That's why the pursuit of meaning is not just personal, it's universal. It's what connects us all. When you live with meaning, you start making choices that match your beliefs. You stop trading your peace for approval. You stop staying busy just to feel important. You start choosing what aligns with your values, even if it's slower or less glamorous. Because at the end of the day, you'd rather have peace in your heart than praise on your screen. Meaning is also built in relationships. When you genuinely connect with people, when you share time, laughter, lessons, and care, you build something that success alone can't buy. People remember how you made them feel, not what you achieved. The moments you spend giving your attention, showing kindness, forgiving, encouraging, That's where meaning lives. Sometimes, meaning shows up in the simplest places, in a conversation that uplifts, in work that helps others, in quiet moments of reflection. You don't need a perfect plan to find it. You just need presence. You need to slow down enough to notice what feels right. You need to stop living only for someday and start living for today. When you chase only success, you're often running after external rewards, money, position, recognition. When you chase meaning, you're pursuing internal rewards, peace, growth, purpose. External rewards can disappear in a moment, but internal rewards stay with you no matter what changes around you. To live with meaning, you must align your actions with your values. You can't say you value health and ignore it. You can't say you value honesty and live with pretense. You can't say you value family and never show up for them. Meaning demands integrity. It's built one choice at a time in the moments when no one's watching. If you've ever felt lost or unsure of what's next, it's often not because you've failed, but because you've outgrown your old definition of success. That's the invitation to redefine what matters. Ask yourself, what makes my life feel valuable even when I'm not achieving? The answer might surprise you. It might be love, learning, service, creativity, or faith. Whatever it is, that's where meaning begins. Meaning doesn't require you to give up ambition. It refines it. It gives your ambition direction. You still work hard, but for a reason that fills you instead of drains you. You stop burning out because your energy is connected to something that replenishes you. When your goals serve your purpose, work stops feeling like weight. It becomes expression. Discovering what gives your life meaning, beyond success, also brings clarity in hard times. When life shifts, you don't lose your identity. You might lose a title, a job, or a position, but not your sense of self. Because your worth no longer depends on what you have, it depends on who you are. That's the kind of strength no storm can take away. One of the greatest realizations you can have is that meaning is created, not found. It's not waiting for you in a single moment of revelation. It's built through daily decisions, what you pay attention to, how you respond to challenges, and how you treat the people around you. You don't stumble upon meaning. You practice it, and as you practice it, you start to notice a shift. You stop asking, how much can I do? And start asking, how much can I give? You stop asking, when will I get there? And start asking, who am I becoming as I walk this path? You begin to realize that the most meaningful life isn't about arrival, it's about alignment. The peace that comes from meaning is quiet but unshakable. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You just need to live truthfully. You begin to wake up with gratitude, not anxiety. You measure success, not by the trophies on your shelf, but by the calm in your mind. You learn to celebrate progress, without losing yourself to perfection. When meaning becomes your foundation, life stops being a constant race. You still move forward, but now you move with intention. You choose goals that serve a purpose, not just your ego. You use success as a tool, not a trophy. You find balance between doing and being. In the end, success is not the goal, it's the result of living with meaning. When your work, relationships, and values align, success follows naturally. But even if it doesn't, you'll still feel full, because meaning is the only measure that lasts when everything else fades. So take time to ask yourself, not how to be successful, but how to be meaningful. Look at your life honestly. Ask what kind of legacy you want to leave. Ask what kind of person you want to be remembered as. The answers won't appear overnight, but the search itself will begin to change you. Because once you start living with meaning, every part of life becomes richer, deeper, and more real. That's when success stops being the destination and becomes the byproduct of a life well lived. That's when every day starts to feel worth it, not because you're achieving, but because you're becoming, and that is what gives life its true power. Chapter 3. Connect your goals to something that moves your soul. There is a kind of strength that doesn't come from ambition or pressure or the need to prove something. It comes from being connected to what moves your soul. It's quiet, but it's powerful. It's not about how much you do, it's about how much what you do matters to you. When your goals come from that place, your energy changes. You stop forcing yourself to work, and you start feeling drawn to it. You stop running after rewards and start running toward meaning. That's when your goals stop being just targets and start becoming expressions of your deepest self. Most people set goals based on what looks right, not what feels right. They ask, what should I do, instead of what calls me? They pick goals that impress others, but don't ignite them, and because of that, they lose energy halfway through. They wonder why they feel tired, uninspired, or disconnected, even when they're achieving things. It's not because they lack discipline, it's because their goals lack emotional connection. The truth is, goals without soul are hard to sustain. To connect your goals to something that moves your soul, you must start by listening to yourself. Not to your fears, not to your doubts, not to the world's expectations, but to the quiet part of you that knows what feels alive. You've felt it before, that pull toward something that excites you and scares you at the same time. That's the sound of your soul trying to guide you. When you ignore it, life feels flat. When you follow it, everything comes alive again. The most powerful goals are not built on obligation, they're built on emotion. They come from love, passion, belief, and purpose. If you've ever met someone who seems unstoppable, it's not because they have more energy, it's because they're emotionally invested in what they're doing. They care. They're not just working for results, they're working for meaning. That's the secret to lasting motivation. It takes courage to build goals from the heart instead of the mind. The mind wants safety, the heart wants truth. The mind says, do what's practical. The heart says, do what matters. The balance comes from honoring both. Choosing goals that make sense, but also make you feel alive. Because if your goals don't move you, you'll always need external pressure to keep going. But if your goals come from something deeper, they'll pull you naturally. The soul knows what it wants long before the world does. It's that natural pull you feel towards something. Writing, helping, building, leading, healing, teaching, creating, exploring. You might not know how it will all fit together, but you know it feels right. When you honor that pull, your life starts aligning with who you truly are. That's not luck, that's connection. Every person has something that lights them up. It might not look important to others, but to you it means everything. It's the work you could do for hours without feeling the time pass. It's the kind of impact that makes you proud, not just successful. Those are the clues to what moves your soul. The more you build your goals around them, the more authentic your life becomes. When your goals are connected to your soul, effort feels different. You still work hard, but it doesn't feel like a struggle. You wake up with direction, not dread. You feel a sense of rightness, even when things are uncertain. That's what people mean when they talk about fulfillment. It's not about everything being easy, it's about everything being meaningful. The world will always try to convince you to chase what's safe, common, or guaranteed. But safety without meaning is slow death. You can have stability and still feel empty if what you do doesn't touch your heart. The challenge is not just to achieve, but to achieve something that speaks to your essence. That's where the deepest satisfaction lives. Some people think the soul is something spiritual or distant, but in truth, it's practical. It's what guides you to do the work that fits you, the kind that uses your natural gifts. When you ignore that part of you, life feels heavy. You feel like you're dragging yourself through your own day. But when you align with it, even difficult work feels worthwhile. It's easy to get lost chasing surface goals, money, attention, or recognition. They're tempting because they bring quick results, but they don't last, because they don't feed the part of you that wants to contribute, grow, or create something meaningful. Connecting to what moves your soul means shifting from what do I want to have, to who do I want to become. That shift changes everything. You begin to set goals that build you from the inside out. Instead of chasing outcomes, you chase growth. Instead of wanting to look successful, you want to feel fulfilled. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you focus on living your own truth. When you live this way, your achievements no longer control your self-worth. You already feel whole because your work reflects your values. Think about the moments when you felt deeply alive. Maybe it was helping someone overcome a challenge, creating something from nothing, sharing a message that inspired others, or simply being there for someone who needed you. In those moments, you weren't thinking about winning or losing. You were just being fully present. That's the energy your soul recognizes. When your goals come from that same energy, you find consistency that discipline alone can't create. Discipline is easier when your heart is in it. You don't have to force yourself to show up when what you're doing matters to you. You do it because it feels like part of who you are. You're not pushing yourself, you're expressing yourself. That's why connecting goals to your soul is not a luxury. It's a necessity for long-term fulfillment. Your life becomes more peaceful when your goals align with your inner truth. You stop feeling torn between what you should do and what you want to do. You start trusting yourself more. You begin to make choices that honor your values instead of your fears. You stop chasing validation because you already feel aligned in. That's where confidence comes from, not from pretending to be perfect, but from living in integrity with what moves you. One of the biggest mistakes people make is separating their goals from their heart. They treat life like a checklist: get the promotion, buy the house, hit the numbers. But when you reach those things without connection, they lose meaning fast. Real achievement is when your outer success reflects your inner calling. It's when your goals become an extension of your deepest intentions. You can't fake connection. You can't pretend something moves you when it doesn't. Your energy knows. Your body knows. You feel it in your mood, your health, your focus. If something drains you consistently, it's not aligned. But if something challenges you and still excites you, that's a sign you're on the right path. The soul doesn't crave comfort, it craves truth. Connecting your goals to your soul also gives you resilience. Because when your purpose is personal, you can endure setbacks without breaking. You can face criticism without giving up. You can fail and still feel proud, because your reason for doing it was never just the result. It was the meaning. That's what separates those who quit from those who grow. To find what moves your soul, pay attention to what stays on your mind. The things you can't stop thinking about, the problems you feel called to solve, the dreams that never quite leave you. Those are clues. They're not random. They're reminders of what you're meant to do. When you ignore them, you feel restless. When you follow them, life starts to make sense. It's not about making dramatic changes overnight. It's about small intentional steps that move you closer to your truth. Maybe it's spending more time on work that fulfills you. Maybe it's helping others in a way that feels natural. Maybe it's starting a project that reflects your passion. The key is to begin. Each step you take in alignment with your soul adds strength to your direction. You'll know you're aligned when your days feel lighter even when they're full. You'll still have challenges, but you'll face them with purpose. You won't need to constantly escape your life. You'll want to be present in it. That's what it means to live connected to what moves you. As you grow, your goals might change, but the connection should stay the same. Don't be afraid to evolve. Sometimes what moved you 5 years ago no longer fits who you are today. That's not failure. That's growth. The soul doesn't stay still, it expands. Keep checking in with yourself. Ask, does this still feel true to me? That simple question keeps your goals alive and authentic. It's easy to build a life that looks good but feels wrong. The real challenge is to build a life that feels right, even if it looks simple. That's where fulfillment lives, in honesty, not in image. You don't need to impress anyone when you're in love with what you're creating. You don't need constant approval when your actions already reflect your beliefs. Your soul moves through emotion, not logic. It knows through feeling. That's why sometimes, even when something makes perfect sense on paper, it still feels wrong inside. Don't ignore that feeling. It's guidance. It's your inner compass reminding you that success without connection is empty. The world may reward results, but life rewards alignment. There's no shortcut to this kind of life. It takes patience, awareness, and honesty. You must be willing to let go of goals that no longer fit you. You must accept that not everyone will understand your choices. You must trust that your fulfillment is more valuable than approval. Because when you live by what moves your soul, you stop needing permission to be yourself. The greatest lives are not built from competition, but from contribution. They're built by people who followed what moved them, even when it was uncertain. They found energy in their purpose, and direction in their passion. They didn't just chase success, they created significance. Connecting your goals to your soul doesn't make life easier, but it makes it meaningful. You'll still face obstacles, but they'll shape you instead of breaking you. You'll still work hard, but it will feel like growth, not sacrifice. And you'll still dream big, but now your dreams will have roots. When your goals move your soul, you stop living for someday and start living with purpose now. You start seeing meaning in every step, even the small ones. You realize that true power comes from within, not from what you achieve, but from what you become in the process. That's the kind of life worth building. One where your goals don't just look good on paper, but feel right in your heart. One where your success reflects your soul. One where every day, no matter how ordinary, feels like it matters. That's what it means to connect your goals to something that moves your soul.
Chapter 4. Train your mind to choose growth over comfort daily. Every day, life gives you two choices. You can choose comfort or you can choose growth. One gives you an easy day, the other gives you a better life. The truth is, the human mind naturally leans toward comfort. It wants safety, predictability, and routine. It resists anything that feels uncertain or uncomfortable. But the moment you start training your mind to choose growth, everything begins to change. Growth becomes a habit. Strength becomes a way of life. Confidence stops being something you search for. It becomes who you are. Comfort feels good in the short term, but it quietly limits you. Growth feels uncomfortable in the beginning, but it expands you. Most people spend their lives protecting their comfort zones, never realizing they're building invisible walls around themselves. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect time. They wait until it feels easier. But growth never feels easy. It feels like stretching. It feels like saying yes when your mind wants to say no. It feels like doing what's right instead of what's easy. The mind must be trained to see discomfort not as danger, but as a signal of progress. Every time you push through a little resistance, you strengthen that part of you that knows how to overcome. When you take a step into the unknown and survive it, your mind learns that fear doesn't have to control you. That's how growth works. It rewards courage. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Training your mind begins with awareness. Notice your daily patterns. Notice when you avoid things because they feel hard or uncomfortable. Notice how quickly your brain gives you excuses. The moment you recognize these thoughts, you can challenge them. Growth begins in those small moments, when you choose action over avoidance.
When you silence the voice that says, maybe tomorrow, and you move anyway. Every person has two inner voices. One whispers, stay where you are, it's safe. The other whispers, you can be more than this. The first voice is comfort, the second voice is growth. The difference between an average life and an extraordinary one lies in which voice you feel. The more you listen to growth, the stronger it becomes. It's like building a muscle. The more you train it, the more powerful it gets. Choosing growth over comfort doesn't mean chasing pain or rejecting rest. It means making decisions that serve your long-term self instead of your short-term feelings. Comfort says, avoid the gym today, you're tired. Growth says, go, because you'll feel proud after. Comfort says, don't speak up, people might judge you. Growth says, say it, because your truth matters. Comfort says, you're fine where you are. Growth says, you're meant for more. Every day you're faced with moments like these. They may seem small, but they define the direction of your life. A comfortable life can slowly become a trapped life. You start avoiding new experiences, new risks, and new opportunities, because they make you anxious. You convince yourself that staying safe is wise, but what you're really doing is settling. Growth happens when you lean into that discomfort, when you choose to do the thing you've been putting off, when you challenge your limits even a little each day. The beauty of growth is that it compounds. One small brave decision leads to another. One day of discipline builds the next. Before you know it, you've become someone stronger, calmer, and more capable. It's not one big moment that changes your life. It's the collection of small, uncomfortable choices made over time. Each one rewires your mind to trust growth instead of fear it. You train your mind the same way you train your body, through repetition and consistency. If you want to build resilience, you must practice it daily. If you want to build courage, you must face fear regularly. If you want to build focus, you must remove distractions over and over again. Growth is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. Your mind is powerful, but it believes what you teach it. If you tell it that discomfort means danger, it will protect you by avoiding it. But if you teach it that discomfort means development, it will start seeking it. Every challenge will feel like an opportunity instead of a threat. That's the shift that separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. One way to train your mind is to set small, deliberate challenges. Wake up a little earlier than usual. Speak to someone you usually avoid. Start the project you've been overthinking. Learn a skill that intimidates you. Each time you do something uncomfortable, you're sending a message to your brain. I'm capable of more than I thought. Over time, that belief becomes your reality. It's easy to admire growth in others, but it's built through choices most people never see. It's built in early mornings, late nights, quiet disciplines, and private decisions. It's built when you choose to do the right thing, even when no one's watching. That's what builds character. That's what builds confidence. The greatest enemy of growth is not failure, it's comfort. Failure teaches you lessons. Comfort teaches you nothing. Failure shapes your character. Comfort keeps you stagnant. The reason most people never discover their potential is because they never allow themselves to be uncomfortable long enough to grow. They retreat the moment things get hard. But those who rise understand that growth and discomfort are inseparable. If you want to grow, you must stop treating discomfort as a problem and start seeing it as a teacher. It shows you where you still have work to do. It reveals the habits that hold you back. It exposes the limits you've built in your mind. Every time you feel that resistance, it's life asking you, how much do you really want this? Growth begins with the answer. There's a quiet power in people who choose growth daily. They're not the loudest, but they're consistent.
They don't need attention, because their reward is progress. They find joy in showing up, in improving just a little, in mastering themselves one day at a time. While others chase comfort, they chase capacity. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Growth is not about intensity, it's about consistency. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to change one small choice each day. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to act despite fear. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Growth is the product of persistence, not perfection. Some days, choosing growth means having difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. Other days, it means saying no to distractions that waste your energy. Sometimes it means staying disciplined when you feel lazy. And sometimes it means forgiving yourself and trying again tomorrow. Growth doesn't always look like strength. It often looks like patience. You must also understand that growth requires discomfort, because it's how you build resilience. Resilience is not built by avoiding stress. It's built by managing it. Every time you face a challenge and come through it, you teach your brain that you can handle more than you thought. That's how confidence grows, from evidence, not from wishful thinking. To train your mind for growth, you must feed it the right thoughts. What you focus on expands. If you constantly tell yourself, "I can't handle this," your mind will believe it. But if you remind yourself, "I can learn from this," your brain begins to look for solutions. You move from victim to creator. You stop reacting and start responding. The environment you keep also shapes how your mind grows. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not those who keep you comfortable. Spend time with people who think bigger, live intentionally, and push you to rise. Energy is contagious. Growth-minded people remind you that discomfort is part of the process. They make it normal to improve. Comfort gives you short-term ease, but growth gives you long-term freedom. Every time you choose comfort, you reinforce limitation. Every time you choose growth, you expand possibility. One decision keeps you safe. The other makes you strong. Ask yourself which one you want to build your life around. Training your mind for growth also means learning to delay gratification. Comfort chases what feels good now. Growth invests in what feels right later. The person who chooses growth understands that today's discipline becomes tomorrow's confidence. You can't have both ease and excellence at the same time. You must decide what you value more, temporary comfort or lasting pride. Growth requires humility. You have to accept that you don't know everything, that mistakes are part of learning, that progress is messy. The ego wants comfort. It wants to look good, to be right, to avoid embarrassment. But the soul wants expansion. And that only happens when you're willing to be a beginner again and again. Choosing growth is also choosing responsibility. It means you stop blaming circumstances and start taking ownership. It means you stop waiting for ideal conditions and start creating them. It means you stop saying "I can't" and start asking "How can I?" Growth doesn't depend on luck. It depends on mindset. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is learning to enjoy discomfort. When you start seeing it as progress instead of pain, your relationship with life changes. You stop fearing challenges. You start seeking them. You realize that the moments that test you are the ones that transform you. You stop running from growth and start running toward it. Each day gives you a chance to practice this. When the alarm rings, when the workout feels hard, when the meeting feels intimidating, when the opportunity feels risky, those are all moments to train your mind. Each time you choose growth, you strengthen your belief that you can handle life, and that belief is everything. Growth is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It's something you renew daily. Every morning you decide again.
Will I do what's easy? Or will I do what makes me evolve? And that choice defines who you become. The day you stop growing is the day you start declining. Life doesn't stay still. You're either moving forward or falling behind. Growth is not an option. It's a responsibility to yourself. You owe it to your potential, to your purpose, to your future self. When you train your mind to choose growth over comfort, you stop needing external motivation. You become self-driven. You start finding satisfaction in progress, not in perfection. You develop patience with yourself because you understand that transformation is built through time and consistency. You realize that the most powerful victory is not over others, but over your own limitations. Every moment you choose growth, you build a stronger version of yourself. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to be pushed. You move because you know why it matters. You stop running from challenges and start running toward possibility. You live each day knowing that comfort might feel good for a moment, but growth feels good forever. That's the life you're meant to build. Not one that stays safe, but one that keeps expanding. Not one that avoids difficulty, but one that turns difficulty into strength. Because in the end, success doesn't belong to the most talented or the most lucky. It belongs to those who trained their minds to grow when it would have been easier to quit.
Chapter 5. Build emotional strength by doing what scares you most. Fear has a way of keeping people small. It hides behind excuses, disguises itself as logic, and whispers convincing stories about why you shouldn't take that next step. It tells you it's safer to wait, safer to avoid, safer to stay where you are. But the truth is, fear doesn't protect you, it limits you. Every fear you refuse to face becomes a wall between you and your potential. The moment you begin doing what scares you, you start building emotional strength. That strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from courage. You can't think your way into confidence, you have to act your way into it. Emotional strength is not about pretending to be fearless, it's about feeling afraid and still moving forward. It's about doing the thing your mind tells you to avoid and realizing afterward that you survived. Each time you face fear, something inside you expands. You begin to see that fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal that growth is near. What you fear most often hides what you need most. People spend their lives trying to eliminate fear, not realizing that fear is part of being alive. The goal isn't to erase it, it's to master it. You build emotional strength when you stop letting fear make decisions for you. You take control of your reactions, your thoughts, and your choices. You replace panic with patience, avoidance with awareness, and hesitation with movement. That's how courage grows, one decision at a time. When you avoid what scares you, the fear grows stronger. When you face it, you weaken its power. That's how the mind works. The brain learns through experience. If every time fear shows up you retreat, the mind learns that fear is dangerous. But if you step into it and come out safe, it learns that fear is survivable. Slowly the feeling changes. Fear loses its control and confidence takes its place. You can read every book on bravery, but until you take action, you'll never know your strength. The lessons only sink in when you step into discomfort. Real courage begins in real life, in that phone call you don't want to make, that conversation you keep avoiding, that dream you've delayed for years. Each time you do what scares you, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your emotion. That's what emotional strength is, discipline of the mind, not the absence of emotion. Courage is a muscle, and fear is the weight that strengthens it. Every time you lift that weight, even a little, you grow. Avoiding fear makes it heavier. Facing it makes you stronger. The secret is to start small. You don't need to jump into your biggest fear right away. Start with something slightly uncomfortable. Something that makes your stomach tighten a little. Speak up when it's easier to stay quiet. Try a new skill when you feel unsure. Say yes to something that challenges your routine. Those small acts build momentum, and soon what used to scare you will start to feel normal. Most fear is not about danger, it's about discomfort. It's the fear of judgment, rejection, failure, or change. These are not threats to your survival, but to your ego, and yet they control people more than anything else. Emotional strength is built by breaking that pattern. You stop letting your ego decide your limit. You accept that rejection is part of progress, that failure is feedback, that discomfort is growth in disguise. The moment you stop running from these things, you begin to mature emotionally. Fear thrives in silence, and avoid. When you talk about it, write about it, or take action against it, it loses oxygen. The more you understand your fears, the less mysterious they become. Ask yourself what you're really afraid of. Most of the time, it's not the event, it's the feeling that comes with it. You're not afraid of the presentation itself, you're afraid of embarrassment. You're not afraid of trying, you're afraid of looking foolish. But once you see fear for what it is, you can face it logically. Feelings lose power when you name them. There's a deep satisfaction that comes after doing something that scared you. It's not about pride, it's about liberation. You realize that fear didn't control you. You did what your old self thought was impossible. That moment of victory might be quiet, but it changes how you see yourself forever. You start to trust your own resilience. You begin to believe that no emotion can stop you from growing. The mind becomes stronger when it's tested. Just like the body builds strength through resistance, the mind builds confidence through challenge. Each fear you face becomes emotional training. You learn to manage adrenaline, calm your thoughts, and stay composed in uncertainty. Over time, you stop reacting automatically and start responding intentionally. That's when emotional maturity begins. You're no longer a prisoner of your own reactions. Doing what scares you also teaches humility. It reminds you that growth is uncomfortable and that everyone struggles with something. It helps you understand people better because fear is universal. Everyone has something that makes their heart race, their voice tremble, their hands shake. The difference between people who grow and those who stay stuck is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act anyway. You can't control fear, but you can control your focus. If you keep thinking about what could go wrong, fear will. But if you focus on what you could learn, or how much stronger you'll be afterward, courage takes over. Your attention decides your strength. The more you focus on growth, the smaller fear becomes. One of the most powerful things you can do is to stop negotiating with fear. Don't give it power by arguing with it or waiting for it to go away. Move while it's still there. Take the step while your heart is still pounding. That's when real confidence is built. Confidence doesn't come first, it comes after action. You can't think your way into bravery. You earn it through behavior. When you do what scares you, you learn that most of your fears are exaggerated. The mind tends to magnify danger and underestimate strength. You build emotional control by challenging those assumptions. Each time you face something uncomfortable, your mind recalibrates what's possible. You stop overreacting to stress. You start trusting yourself in unpredictable situations. That's the foundation of inner strength. Trust in your own capability. The life you want will demand more courage than comfort. The goals that matter most will always bring some fear. That's the price of growth, but the reward is worth it. Peace of mind, self-respect, and the quiet power of knowing that you can handle whatever comes. Once you've faced fear and survived, life doesn't intimidate you the same way. You stop being controlled by what if. You start being guided by why not. Emotional strength is not built in isolation. It grows through experience. The more you expose yourself to real challenges, the more resilient you become.
The mind adapts. It learns that uncertainty doesn't mean danger, that discomfort doesn't mean failure, that fear doesn't mean stop. When you live this way, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions to act. You realize that courage isn't something you find, it's something you create. When fear appears, don't ask, how do I get rid of this? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Every fear hides a lesson. Fear of speaking teaches communication. Fear of failure teaches resilience. Fear of rejection teaches self-worth. Fear of change teaches adaptability. If you face them one by one, you build a life that no longer crumbles under emotion. It's important to remember that courage is deeply personal. What scares one person might feel easy to another. Don't compare your journey. Your fears are your training ground. If something feels uncomfortable, that's where you need to go. Growth always lives at the edge of what you can currently handle. Each time you expand that edge, you evolve. Facing fear doesn't always mean doing big dramatic things. Sometimes it's simple, being honest about how you feel. Asking for help, forgiving someone, forgiving yourself. These moments take quiet courage, but they transform you. Emotional strength is built in private moments that no one sees. The day you stop hiding from yourself is the day you start to heal. You also have to learn that failure is not something to fear. It's a teacher that reveals your blind spots. The more you fail, the more you understand yourself. You discover where you're strong, where you're weak, where you need patience. People who never fail, never grow, because they never risk enough to learn. Emotional strength comes from seeing failure, not as proof of inadequacy, but as evidence of effort. Courage grows best in honesty. Admit when you're afraid, but don't let that stop you. Admit when you feel unprepared, but take the step anyway. Fear loses control when you speak it out loud, and still act in spite of it. Growth doesn't require perfection, it requires sincerity. Every person you admire for their strength started as someone who was scared but didn't let that fear win. As you build emotional strength, you'll notice a shift. Fear still shows up, but it stops holding power. You begin to see challenges as opportunity. You start saying yes to things that once intimidated you. You begin to trust that even if you fail, you'll recover. That's real freedom, the ability to act without fear of being broken by the outcome. Emotional strength also creates calm. When you're no longer controlled by fear, you stop overreacting to life. You face problems with patience instead of panic. You stop needing certainty before you move. You start believing that whatever happens, you'll figure it out. That belief gives you peace in chaos and power in uncertainty. The more you do what scares you, the more alive you feel. Fear is a sign that something meaningful is at stake. It shows that you care. When you stop running from it, you discover that fear can be fuel. It sharpens focus, increases presence, and wakes you up to life. Without fear, there's no excitement. Without risk, there's no reward. Without courage, there's no real freedom. So start with one fear. Pick something that's been holding you back and face it head on. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take the step while you're scared. You'll never eliminate fear, but you can train yourself to move with it. That's how emotional strength is built, through repetition, through honesty, through courage in action. Over time, you'll notice that what used to terrify you now feels small. You'll realize that you've grown quietly, consistently, by doing the things that scared you most. You'll see that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. You'll understand that emotional strength is not a gift, it's a decision you make daily. And in that moment, when you look back and see how far you've come, you'll feel something powerful. A deep trust in yourself. You'll know that no matter what challenges come next, you can face, because you've built the strength that only comes from doing the very things that once scared you most.
Chapter 6. Stay true to your values when results come slow. There comes a point in every meaningful journey when the excitement fades and the results take longer than expected. The vision that once felt alive begins to feel distant, and the energy that once pushed you forward starts to fade. That's the place where most people quit. Not because they can't go on, but because they forget why they started. The path of growth is rarely fast, and real success almost never happens overnight. The question that defines your character is this: will you stay true to your values when progress moves slowly? That's where integrity is tested, and that's where real strength is built. It's easy to stand by your principles when everything is working in your favor. When success comes quickly, staying humble, honest, and patient feels natural. But when things slow down, when effort seems unrewarded, when life doesn't respond on your timeline, that's when temptation appears. The temptation to cut corners, the temptation to act out of frustration, the temptation to become someone you said you'd never be, just to get faster results. But growth doesn't respond to shortcuts. It responds to consistency, patience, and character. When you measure your worth only by outcomes, slow progress feels like failure. But when you measure your life by values, progress becomes about who you're becoming, not just what you're getting. Staying true to your values means doing what's right even when no one notices, keeping your word even when no one reminds you, and moving with integrity even when it's inconvenient. That kind of strength doesn't show up on charts or metrics, but it's what builds unshakable confidence. Values are not for the good days, they're for the slow days. They're the compass you use when results disappear, when applause fades, and when no one is cheering you on. If you let outcomes determine your behavior, you'll live in a constant cycle of highs and lows. But when your actions are grounded in your values, you stay steady. You stop needing external validation because your direction comes from within. There's a reason why most people give up when progress slows. They lose emotional connection to their principles. They forget that values are not goals, they're anchors. Goals change, values don't. You can change what you want, but you can't afford to lose who you are. Because when you lose that, even winning feels empty. Staying true to your values is what allows you to walk through slow seasons with peace, instead of frustration. Patience is not weakness, it's emotional discipline. It's the ability to delay rewards because you trust that your path will pay off in time. The strongest people are not those who move the fastest, but those who stay the most consistent when no one is watching. They know that rushing the process breaks the lesson. They understand that real growth happens in silence, when the world isn't clapping, but they keep showing up anyway. Staying true to your values requires emotional maturity. It means choosing honesty when lying might be easier. It means staying humble when pride would make you look stronger. It means keeping kindness alive when bitterness tries to take over. These moments define you more than any achievement ever could. Because anyone can smile when life is smooth. But it takes real strength to keep your heart open when things move slowly. Slow results test your patience, but they also reveal your motives. If you only do good work for fast rewards, you'll quit when the rewards don't come. But if you work because it aligns with who you are, you'll continue even in silence. You'll understand that consistency itself is progress. The world doesn't always pay you immediately, but it never forgets people who act with integrity. When results come slow, you'll feel pressure to compromise, to take shortcuts, to exaggerate your progress, to do things that go against your principles, just to look like you're winning. But remember this, if you compromise your values to get what you want, you'll lose more than you gain. Success achieved without integrity never lasts. The peace you sacrifice will cost more than the reward you get. There will be times when you doubt yourself, when you question whether your honesty, patience, or kindness even matter. You'll see people take dishonest paths and move faster, and you'll wonder if values really make a difference. But what they gain in speed, they lose in depth. They move quickly, but they build on weak foundations. When storms come, they crumble. You, however, if you stay true to your values, will stand strong, Not because life was easy, but because you were consistent. Values give you direction when life feels uncertain. When results are unclear, values keep you grounded. They remind you of the kind of person you want to be. They give you peace in chaos, because they provide a standard that doesn't shift with circumstances. Without them, you drift. With them, you endure. One of the hardest things to accept is that doing the right thing doesn't always bring quick results. Sometimes you'll do everything with honesty and effort, and it will still take longer than expected. You'll question if it's worth it, but every act of integrity compounds over time. It builds a reputation, a mindset, a spirit that can't be shaken. You can't rush credibility. You earn it slowly, through consistent alignment between your words and your actions. When the road gets long, remember that growth doesn't always show up as visible success. Sometimes growth looks like patience, emotional control, and quiet resilience. Sometimes it's the ability to stay calm when things delay. Sometimes it's the decision to act with grace when others complain. These moments refine your character in ways quick results never could. Values are not convenient, they're demanding. They'll ask you to stay disciplined when it feels easier to give up. They'll ask you to be kind when others are harsh. They'll ask you to stay focused on quality when no one is watching. That's the cost of integrity, but it's also the source of real strength. When you live by values instead of circumstances, you gain power that external success can't give. It's natural to want results quickly. You've worked hard, sacrificed, and given your best. You deserve progress, but life has its timing, and you can't force maturity before it's ready. Just like nature, growth takes seasons. There's planting, watering, waiting, and only then harvesting. If you dig up the soil every time you get impatient, you'll ruin the process. Stay grounded in your values, keep doing the work, and trust that the results will come at the right time. There's a quiet dignity in staying true to your principles during slow seasons. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. It shows the depth of your character. It builds self-respect. When you know you didn't take shortcuts, you walk with confidence. You may not have everything yet, but you have something more valuable. Peace of mind. That peace allows you to rest even while the results are pending. When progress feels invisible, that's when discipline matters most. It's easy to show up when you're being praised, but showing up when no one notices builds a strength that can't be faked. Every time you stay true to your values in silence, you're strengthening your inner foundation. You're proving to yourself that your purpose matters more than your pace. You must remember that slow progress is still progress. Every act of patience is a victory. Every day you keep your integrity intact is a step forward. The process may not always reward you immediately, but it's shaping you for something greater. The people who stay aligned during difficult times are the ones who lead with authenticity when their time comes. There's also something deeply fulfilling about knowing that your work, your growth, and your journey are all built on truth. You don't have to remember lies. You don't have to pretend to be something you're not. You don't have to chase every trend or compromise your morals for attention. You can rest in the fact that you're doing what's right for the right reasons. That kind of life brings a peace that quick success can't match. When results come slow, it's easy to start comparing yourself to others. But comparison is poison. It distracts you from your journey and pushes you toward decisions that don't fit your values. Stay focused on your own pace. Everyone's timeline is different. What matters is not how fast you move, but how true you remain while moving. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean waiting and doing nothing. It means continuing to act with faith and consistency, even when you don't see immediate outcome. It means doing your best, trusting the process, and letting time do its work. Results take time, because transformation takes time. And what lasts longest is built slowly. When you hold on to your values, you build resilience. You stop reacting emotionally,
to slow results, because you know who you are and why you're doing it. You stop letting frustration dictate your behavior. You find meaning even in delay. That kind of mindset makes you unstoppable, because your motivation is no longer fragile. Every great story of success has chapters that no one sees, long seasons of waiting, rejection, and invisible progress. Those are the moments that build substance. Without those chapters, success would be shallow. Staying true to your values during those hidden seasons ensures that when success finally arrives, you'll be ready for it. You'll know how to handle it, because you earned it the right way. You have to decide who you want to be in the waiting. Will you let impatience make you bitter, or will you let it make you stronger? Will you chase quick wins, or will you trust the process? The choice defines everything. Your legacy will not be measured only by what you achieved, but by how you achieved. If you compromise your values to move faster, you might get ahead for a while, but you'll always look back with regret. If you stay true to your values when results are slow, you might struggle temporarily, but you'll sleep peacefully knowing you remained authentic. Integrity doesn't guarantee instant success, but it guarantees long-term fulfillment. Staying true to your values is not about being perfect. It's about consistency. It's about reminding yourself daily that your character matters more than your comfort, that your purpose matters more than your pace. It's about trusting that even when progress is invisible, growth is still happening beneath the surface. In time, the results will come. They always do. But when they do, they'll mean more because you'll know you earned them without losing yourself. You'll have not only success, but wisdom. Not only achievement, but peace. Because you'll know that through every delay, through every disappointment, through every slow season, you stayed true to what mattered most, and that's what defines a life worth living.
Chapter 7. Turn setbacks into data that refines your purpose. Every person who dares to grow will eventually face setbacks. They come when you least expect them. Plans fall apart. Opportunities disappear, people disappoint you, and sometimes your own effort isn't enough. In those moments, it's easy to feel lost or defeated. But the truth is, setbacks are not the end of your story. They are information. They are feedback from life. They are data that helps refine your direction, sharpen your focus, and strengthen your purpose. The difference between those who give up and those who grow is how they interpret what happens to them. The strongest people are not those who never fall. They are the ones who learn from every fall and rise smarter than before. When things go wrong, the first reaction is usually emotional. Frustration, anger, or self-doubt takes over. That's normal. You're human, but once the emotion settles, that's when reflection begins. The question you must ask yourself is not, why did this happen to me, but what is this trying to teach me? That single shift changes everything. It takes you from a victim of circumstance to a student of life. Because if you can extract wisdom from failure, you turn pain into progress. Every setback becomes a stepping stone, not a stop sign. Setbacks reveal weaknesses, but not to shame you, to guide you. They show you where your system, your strategy, or your mindset needs improvement. They expose blind spots you might not see when things are going well. Growth hides in discomfort. When everything is working, you rarely stop to analyze, you just keep moving. But when life forces you to slow down, you start to notice what you missed before. That's the hidden value of failure. It forces awareness. It teaches lessons success can't. It takes emotional maturity to see setbacks as data. Most people personalize them. They think a failed project means they're a failure, or a rejection means they're not good enough. But setbacks are rarely personal. They're situational. They're part of the process of refinement. When a scientist runs an experiment and it doesn't work, they don't see it as failure. They see it as information. They adjust, test again, and get closer to the truth. That's exactly how growth works. Every result, good or bad, is feedback about what works and what doesn't. Life doesn't punish you with setbacks, it educates you through them. Every difficulty carries a lesson you need for the next stage. If you ignore it, you repeat it. If you study it, you rise above it. The key is not to rush through pain or pretend it doesn't hurt. The key is to sit with it long enough to understand what it's showing you. The insight you gain will become your advantage. When you turn setbacks into data, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" You stop dwelling on what went wrong and start focusing on what you can improve. That mindset shift builds resilience. It turns emotional pain into practical wisdom. You start to see life less as a battle to win and more as a process to master. Every mistake becomes a tool. Every challenge becomes training. Your purpose is not fixed, it evolves as you evolve. Setbacks refine it by revealing what truly matters to you. Sometimes failure is life's way of redirecting you. You may lose something that looked perfect, only to realize later it wasn't aligned with your deeper purpose. You may get rejected from one opportunity only to discover a better fit elsewhere. These moments hurt in the present, but make sense in hindsight. The setback wasn't punishment, it was redirection. Think about the times in your life when things didn't go as planned but ended up making you stronger or wiser. Those experiences shape your clarity. They strip away illusions and force you to face the truth about your priorities, your limits, and your resilience. You begin to understand that purpose isn't found through ease, it's discovered through endurance. Turning setbacks into data requires honesty. You must be willing to face what went wrong without blaming others or running from discomfort. It's not about guilt, it's about growth. Ask yourself, what did I learn? What can I do differently next time? What patterns keep showing up? These questions turn pain into a lesson plan. Without reflection, setbacks repeat themselves. With reflection, they transform you. People who grow through failure share one common trait: they stay curious. Instead of saying "I failed," they say "I learned." They treat every outcome as feedback, not judgment. Curiosity removes shame. It allows you to see mistakes objectively. When you're curious, your ego quiets down and your mind opens up. That's when real learning happens. It's also important to detach your self-worth from your results. The person who ties identity to achievement will crumble when things go wrong, but the person who sees themselves as a work in progress can handle failure with grace. They understand that one bad day doesn't define a life. One mistake doesn't erase potential, and one rejection doesn't end opportunity. They see every outcome as data to guide their next step. When you face a setback, pause before reacting. Take time to process what happened. Write it down if you need to. Seeing your thoughts on paper gives you perspective. Break down the event. What did you expect? What actually happened? What influenced the outcome? What can you control next time? This simple reflection turns chaos into clarity. It transforms confusion into structure. Emotional strength grows from analysis, not avoidance. The more you examine your failures, the less power they hold over you. You stop fearing them because you start understanding them. You begin to view mistakes as normal, necessary, and even valuable. This doesn't mean you enjoy failing. It means you stop letting failure control your emotions. When results fall short, the most dangerous response is giving up. The second most dangerous is denial, pretending nothing went wrong. Growth requires facing facts, not avoiding them. The faster you accept reality, the faster you can adjust. Resilience isn't just about staying strong, it's about staying flexible. It's about adapting while staying aligned with your purpose. Sometimes a setback will shake your confidence so deeply that you start questioning your purpose altogether. That's okay. Doubt is part of clarity. It makes you revisit your reasons and refine your motivation.
If your purpose can't survive failure, it wasn't grounded enough. True purpose becomes sharper after it's tested. Every obstacle helps you understand why your work matters. Setbacks can also reveal whether your goals are aligned with your deeper self. You might realize that what you were chasing wasn't really your calling, but someone else's expectation. In that case, the setback becomes liberation. It frees you to pursue something more authentic. You stop striving for what looks right and start building what feels right. When you change your relationship with failure, you remove fear's control over your life. You stop avoiding risk because you know that even if things go wrong, you'll grow. That confidence changes everything. It gives you permission to experiment, to try again, to evolve. Success becomes less about avoiding mistakes and more about collecting information. Every attempt becomes an investment in wisdom. Setbacks also teach humility. They remind you that you don't know everything, that you're still learning, and that progress is not linear. Humility is not weakness, it's awareness. It keeps your ego from blinding you to valuable lessons. The most successful people in the world are not those who never fail. They are those who fail often, but reflect deeply. Purpose refined through failure becomes unshakable. It's no longer built on fantasy, it's built on evidence. You've seen what doesn't work and you've adjusted. You've proven to yourself that you can endure. That confidence makes your future purpose more focused, grounded, and meaningful. Every mistake becomes a tool in your toolbox. When setbacks hit, it's tempting to isolate yourself, to withdraw out of shame or exhaustion. But that's when you need connection most. Talk to mentors, friends, or people who have been through similar struggles. They'll remind you that failure is universal. Everyone you admire has failed more times than you think. Hearing their stories helps normalize the process and gives you perspective. Patience is crucial in these moments. The lessons behind a setback often take time to reveal themselves. You might not understand why something happened right away, but as you continue reflecting and moving forward, the clarity will come. You'll look back and realize that what once felt like the end was really the turning point. The data from that experience was shaping your next breakthrough. Purpose grows stronger when tested. Each time life pushes back, it gives you a chance to prove your commitment. You begin to see that purpose isn't about everything going right. It's about staying faithful when things go wrong. It's about holding your vision, even when the plan changes. It's about trusting that the lessons you're learning in failure are preparing you for a future success that will last longer and mean more. To turn setbacks into data, you must shift from emotion to analysis. Feel first, then think. Let the disappointment pass, then get curious. Write, review, and adjust. Treat life like an experiment that's teaching you how to become your best self. That's how you refine your purpose. Not by chasing perfection, but by continuously improving through reflection. The more you live this way, the less fear controls you. You stop avoiding hard things. You stop doubting your worth when you fall. You become a learner, not a victim. You realize that the worst day often carries the seed of your best growth, and when you look back, you'll see that your setbacks weren't obstacles at all. They were direction. No success story exists without failure. No wisdom exists without mistakes. The people who create lasting impact are the ones who study their failures until they understand them. They extract every ounce of knowledge, turn it into strategy, and keep moving forward. That's what refining your purpose really means. It's not about rewriting your story, it's about learning from every chapter. So when life knocks you down, don't curse the moment. Collect the data, study it, adjust, grow. Every setback is information, every failure is feedback, every delay is direction. The lessons you learn now are the tools you'll use later, and one day, when you reach your purpose with clarity and strength, you'll realize that the things you once thought were holding you back were actually pushing you exactly where you needed to go.
Chapter 8. Protect your focus from things that drain your energy. Focus is the foundation of progress. Without it, even the strongest purpose fades into noise. In a world that constantly competes for your attention, protecting your focus has become an act of self-respect. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of energy, a finite amount of willpower, and a small window of mental clarity. What you allow to occupy that space determines the quality of your life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they allow distractions to drain their energy.